Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another thrilling episode of English football's richest club without a trophy cabinet, a tragic comedy. Today we're talking about West Ham United, the club with all the ingredients for success, yet they keep making a tasteless, burnt-out cake. They are in theory the best-placed club to break into the Premier League's Big Six. They've got the giant stadium, the massive fan base, and the history, a history that, let's be honest, is mostly a collection of glorious near misses and spectacular collapses. It's like being given a Ferrari engine and a set of keys, only to find out the car has square wheels and the chassis is made of papier-mâché. So, where did it all go wrong? Or perhaps more accurately, where does it keep going wrong? Grab a pint, find a seat that isn't 200 yards from the pitch, and let's dive into the glorious mess that is West Ham. 1. The Great West Ham Paradox. Potential versus reality. Let's start with the premise. I'm here to tell you that West Ham are theoretically the ultimate underdog story waiting to happen. The club that could challenge the so-called Big Six. Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham, the two Manchesters, and Liverpool. Other clubs like Newcastle and Aston Villa have been bankrolled to within an inch of their lives, but they've also been hamstrung by profit and sustainability regulations (PSR). So, what's West Ham's excuse? They are a London club with a massive stadium, a huge fan base, and the 8th highest revenue in the Premier League. The 17th highest in the entire world. Their average attendance is the 2nd highest in the Premier League, trailing only Manchester United, a club that West Ham's owners probably think of as a quaint little provincial outfit. The Hammers pack out their colossal stadium, and for what? To watch a team that finished 14th last season and looks to be closer to the championship than to European qualification. West Ham's potential is like a crypto bro's first investment. It looks amazing on paper, but in reality it's just a massive disappointment. Imagine having the 8th highest revenue in the Premier League. That's enough money to buy most of the world's small nations, and yet West Ham's transfer strategy seems to be based on picking up players with a combined age of 1,000 who are available for free. Other clubs are building empires, fueled by billion-dollar investments. West Ham's owners, the notorious Dildo Brothers as they were once charmingly called, have injected a grand total of £153 million into the club since 2010. They've also managed to extract over £20 million in interest payments, because nothing says I love my club like charging them a personal loan. At this point, West Ham's business model is less about football and more about making a profit. It's a beautifully run company that just happens to play football on the side, very badly. Newcastle's revenue has shot up by 80% since their takeover, and Aston Villa's by a whopping 400%. West Ham's, a measly 41%. That's the kind of growth you get from leaving your money in a dusty old mattress. West Ham's attendance is so high because the fans are always there full of hope only for it to be crushed a few games later. It's a ritualistic form of self-torture that only a West Ham fan could truly understand. 2. The London advantage. A missed opportunity. Now you might be thinking, but London is a saturated market. To which I say, have you looked at a map? West Ham are the only Premier League club in East London, home to almost 3 million people. That's more people than live in North London, which somehow has 2 entire super clubs, presumably because they're all just a bunch of show-offs. Plus, they have the entire county of Essex at their fingertips, a land of 2 million more potential fans who have no local top-flight team to support. The London advantage means it's easier to attract top talent and wealthy people. West Ham, true to form, has tried to capitalize on this by making their season tickets the 4th most expensive in the Premier League, at almost twice the price of Liverpool's. They've managed to create a perfect storm of overpriced tickets and underperforming players, a combination that has fans feeling like they're paying for a Michelin star meal and getting a greasy kebab. West Ham's stadium is a massive tourist trap, a monument to shattered dreams and questionable financial decisions. Their matchday revenue is only half of Chelsea's, despite packing 20,000 more fans into the stadium. That's like a band selling out Wembley and only making enough to buy a used van. The London Stadium is a soulless, converted athletics track with a view so bad you need binoculars to see what's happening on the pitch. It's a beautiful stadium for a track meet, but a terrible one for a football game. The atmosphere is so weak you can hear a pin drop, and also a supporter complaining about the overpriced hot dog from 50 yards away. The club's plan to remove concessionary pricing for pensioners and children was a masterstroke of customer service. Nothing says we value you like forcing a 70-year-old season ticket holder to pay the same as a hedge fund manager. At this rate, the only people left at the London Stadium will be millionaires and seagulls. The London Stadium is the epitome of the West Ham experience, a great idea poorly executed and leaving everyone involved feeling a little bit ripped off. 3. The owners. A comedy of errors. So, what's the root cause of this perpetual state of mediocrity? The owners, of course. There are two types of successful football owners: the extremely competent ones who run their clubs like a well-oiled machine, like Liverpool's FSG, and the extremely rich ones who throw money at the problem until it goes away, like Roman Abramovich. West Ham's owners David Sullivan and the late David Gold somehow managed to combine the worst traits of both. They are neither competent nor particularly rich, at least not in the sense of an oligarch or a nation-state. They are the club's perfect inverse. They have no plan and no money, yet they've managed to run the club in a way that generates immense amounts of revenue, which they then proceed to squander. Their managerial appointments are a cycle of despair. They make a huge mistake: Avram Grant, bring in a firefighter to fix it. Sam Allardyce, get a little bit ambitious, Slaven Bilic. It all falls apart, and then they bring in another firefighter, David Moyes. It's the football equivalent of a car that keeps breaking down, so you keep calling the same mechanic who just patches it up with duct tape until it breaks down again. It's a testament to the club's complete lack of a coherent vision. West Ham's managerial strategy is like a teenager trying to pick a TV show on Netflix. They watch one episode of a gritty drama, get bored, and then switch to a safe, comfortable sitcom they've seen 100 times before. David Sullivan's transfer philosophy is a thing of beauty. He's the guy who sees a manager with a decent CV who's available on a free transfer and says, "Why would I pay for that young upstart from Sporting Lisbon when this guy managed Real Madrid and is out of a job?" It's a bargain. The story of West Ham's owners is a cautionary tale of what happens when you treat a Premier League football club like a slightly larger version of an adult film business you once owned. It's a very hands-on approach, but in all the wrong places. When it comes to West Ham's recruitment, you can tell exactly who was in charge of a signing. This one was a manager's pick, that one was a director's pick, and this one over here was a player that David Sullivan saw on a highlights reel while eating his breakfast. Their transfer dealings are a masterclass in inefficiency. They spent £45 million on Sebastian Haller, who proceeded to score 10 league goals in 48 games. For that kind of money, Liverpool could have bought half of their current starting 11, and Manchester City could have bought Erling Haaland and still had change left over for a new yacht. 4. The grand stagnation. A club standing still. West Ham's owners are not only notoriously frugal when it comes to transfers, they also have a wage bill that is one of the lowest as a percentage of their revenue. While other clubs are spending money to climb the table, West Ham are hoarding it like a dragon guarding its gold. It makes their repeated claims that they can't afford to sign players due to PSR concerns utterly laughable. They have more wiggle room than a contortionist in a padded room. It's not just the transfers, it's the entire club. The squad is the second oldest in the Premier League, full of players who look like they've been at the club since the days of black and white television. The training ground is outdated, and the entire executive structure is a mess, with no clear direction or long-term vision. It's a club that has been left to rot, all while the owners pat themselves on the back for making a profit. West Ham squad management is a classic case of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Only it's been broken for years, and they refuse to even look at the instruction manual. At this point, West Ham's training ground has to be on the National Register of Historic Places, because it looks like it hasn't been updated since the 1950s. Their facilities are so bad, they probably still use a chalkboard and a whistle instead of modern technology. The owner's excuse about needing to sell to buy is the footballing equivalent of a kid saying they can't clean their room because they need to get a new bucket first. It just doesn't make sense. West Ham's owners are like a family that wins the lottery but decides to keep all the money in a shoebox under the bed, while the rest of the family eats beans on toast every night. The fact that West Ham have the 8th highest net spend in the Premier League over the last 15 years, yet are still a bottom-half team, is a testament to just how bad their recruitment has been. They've spent more money than Liverpool and Manchester City on players, yet they still look like a Sunday League team. 5. The perpetual cycle of despair. Where do we go from here? So, where does West Ham go from here? The most likely scenario is that they just keep doing what they're doing. They'll either sack Graham Potter or he'll get sacked, and they'll bring in another firefighters like Sean Dyche, and the whole cycle will start all over again. They will survive, of course, because there's always a team worse than West Ham. But the club will continue to stagnate, their massive potential remaining a mere theoretical concept. The only real hope for West Ham lies in a change of ownership, a prospect that seems as likely as a Manchester United fan praising the referee. The current owners are like a stubborn old man who refuses to sell his house, even though it's falling apart around him and the neighbors are all building mansions. They've had opportunities to sell, but they just won't. And so, the hope of a brighter future for West Ham remains, as it always has, just that, a hope. West Ham's existence is a cautionary tale for any club with a rich history and a large fan base. They are living proof that without a clear vision and competent ownership, you'll just end up with a big stadium and a bigger sense of dread. The club's motto should be changed from "I'm forever blowing bubbles" to "I'm forever squandering potential." West Ham fans are like a bunch of sailors on a ship with a beautiful engine and sails, but the captain is too cheap to hire a good crew and is navigating using a rusty old compass and a feeling in his gut. It's not a curse, it's a lack of ambition. It's not bad luck, it's bad decisions. The club is stuck in a loop of mediocrity, and the only way out is for someone to hit the reset button, preferably a very rich and very competent someone. At this point, the most exciting thing about West Ham is the constant speculation about a potential takeover. It's the fans' version of a soap opera, and it's a lot more entertaining than what's happening on the pitch. Closing thoughts. The West Ham way. So what do you think? Is there any hope for West Ham, or are they destined to forever be the club that could have, should have, but never did? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, may your favorite club's owners be less like West Ham's and more like a benevolent money-slinging deity. And remember, West Ham's stagnation is a testament to the fact that you can have all the money in the world and still manage to screw it up. See you next time.